Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Teaching Triumph. Starting with the why or reflecting on your why from time to time is an important energizer. It allows us to refocus our energies on the right things that matter to us most. And once we have our why aligned, all of our efforts can start to align with the why. And I think that can better lead us to getting the results that we want, both from ourselves and our students. And also, this is one of those questions that we've all answered at some point in our life if we're already teachers. If we're not teachers, then this is one of those questions that in grad school early on, they start asking you, like, why do you want to teach? I feel like I've answered this question a million times as icebreakers. I've answered this question at interviews. I've answered this question in essays that I wrote to get into different grad schools or some special program. But rightfully so, it's an important question. And a lot of times, our why changes. It evolves over time. So I think it is important, especially at the beginning of a year, to be thinking about your why one more time. And if it has changed, that you reflect on that and you reflect on the aspects and the factors that led to this evolution. And oftentimes our why changes because we have a better understanding of things. So in this video, I want to share with you first, what are the common responses that I have myself given and I have heard from my colleagues and other teachers when this question is asked. So some of the top reasons that people say they're teaching or they came to teaching include passionate about helping others. That's one that comes up all the time. Teaching is a service-oriented profession. So people who are drawn to serve others, especially children, they're interested in the profession because they feel it's an opportunity where they will feel fulfilled having served others in a significant way. So let's go to the second one. This one I've heard quite a bit too, where people say they love the subject. So they loved math growing up. They did really well in math. They wanted to inculcate the same level of love in their students and they wanted to pass that on. So they became a teacher of that subject so that they can pass on that love, that passion that they felt and the success that they experienced in the subject to their students. And teaching is a great opportunity to be able to do that year after year. And that leads us to another very common response, which is inspiration from a past teacher. This is a really common one, and this actually leads to a lot of really good stories when you're in a staff meeting or something like that, and people start to share who inspired them the most to be a teacher, and it's often another teacher. And I feel like this is so many people's story that it could take away from the power that it shows that teachers have. It's almost like we hear this a lot and then we don't really get a chance to reflect on what that really means. But what an immense impact that a teacher can have on someone else who is going to choose that profession because of this inspiration, knowing that this profession could possibly be their main profession for the rest of their being, their life. And it happens with quite a high level of consistency that we get people who are inspired by another teacher to do that for the rest of their life. That's incredible because if you think about other professions that often inspire people to maybe do something, like I don't know why police officers become police officers, but I would predict that it's hardly ever the reason that they have a favorite police officer or they had a favorite nurse. That's why they became a nurse, or they had a favorite doctor and that's why they became a doctor. That is uncommon in many of the other professions. They might have a family member that they love and looked up to that had the same profession, which is one of the things that's on our list also. But I think teaching is one of those very special professions that actually inspire others to do the same. And it happens consistently year after year. We get teachers who have the same narrative and the same story, that they're there because another teacher inspired them to do so. That's a beautiful thing. And then there are people who come to teaching because they feel the profession allows for an opportunity to have a significant impact on the future of the world or the community that they're in. And that's a worthy cause. To this day, I have friends who are not teachers, who are in other professions doing really well. And they still seem to have this respect for teaching because as they get older, they often think about what is their impact on the world? What are they leaving behind? And I think they look up to teaching as one of those professions that really has a potential of leaving a mark, leaving a positive trail behind. And that brings us to the next category of people. Let's not forget the people who just love working with young people. It brings them a lot of joy to be around young people. They like helping children. They like being around children. It's part of their identity. And they just feel like it's their calling to just be around children, because from a young age, they just always knew in their heart that that's the work that they're meant to do. There is a large number of teachers that I hear talk about education being an issue of social justice, and they're committed to educational equity. And around 2007, 8, 9, when I started teaching, the social justice narrative was definitely not new, but it was a critical component of the education zeitgeist of the time. When I was teaching at a graduate school, I worked with a lot of students, a lot of graduate students who were entering teaching from other professions for this very reason. For them, education was a matter of social justice. They came from communities where they felt the education system or the education quality was not up to par. Their own experiences with education left them dissatisfied, and they wanted to change that. So this commitment to social justice, educational equity, educational opportunity, quality of education is a reason why a lot of people teach where I teach, and places like where I teach, like urban education settings. The social justice mission appeals and resonates with a lot of people because of their own experience, and that motivates them to enter teaching, which is a worthy cause, of course. And then there was one reason why people enter teaching that I haven't actually heard in a long time, but I remember in the earlier part of my career, I used to hear this a lot more, where people would say that teaching is a creative outlet. It's one of those few professions that allows you to be who you are, allows you to experiment, allows you to try different things, step out of your comfort zone. There's also a performance element to teaching that they enjoy. But overall, it's like a creative profile of a person. For them, they saw teaching as an opportunity to express their creativity and passion about something and share that with students. And I don't hear teachers say a lot of that anymore, which is an interesting thing. Like, why? It's curious. I wonder if people do not associate creativity with teaching anymore. And then if that's the case, what has taken creativity out of teaching? Let me know what you think about this in the comments. And for me, last but not least, there's a group of people who see teaching as a career opportunity that is fit for someone who's interested in starting a family. Although nobody would ever say that teaching pays a lot anywhere, which is, I think, true for the most part, that it is still a profession that supports a family life. If not financially, then at least time-wise. You do get all of the major holidays in the United States, for example, and we do have our 2 months of summer that you can also get a chance to do something with your family, spend some time together. And very few professions give you an opportunity to do something like that. I know there's a lot of jobs and careers where there is unlimited PTO or paid time off, and people can just take a week here, a week there as needed. And there's some jobs that give up to 25 days of paid time off and stuff like that, but nothing compares to a full 2 months, which teachers get. Now, I do want to clarify something, because I think people have this twisted, like teachers don't work over the summers, but they're getting paid over the summer. That is false. That is not true. We don't get paid for the 2 months that we're off. In fact, we only get paid for the months that we did work. Now, what teachers choose to do, and it is an option that is often given to us, and it's a very nice option, is that we're asked to opt in to take a little bit less of our pay during the working months, which will then be added together to give us the expected paychecks that we could get during the 2 months that we're off. So we earned that money that was just being put in a pot somewhere, which was then divided into 4 equal paychecks for July and August. And that's how we keep getting paid in July and August. That's the money we earn as part of our total salary. And it is not that we're getting paid to do nothing. Most teachers I know take the time to get ready for the next year. There are people who actually attend PDs. There are people who teach summer schools. There's a lot of people who are still working in various capacities. For me too, I spent a lot of time over the summer getting ready for the next year. So yes, that's the last thing. I sometimes hear people say that they felt like the teaching schedule was right for them, what they aspire for themselves in the future in terms of family family life and family engagement. They're interested in this profession, or they were interested in the profession because it's a uniquely positioned profession that, at least on paper, gives you a lot of time back that you theoretically have for yourself and your family. So I started with that because I was thinking about my why this year at the beginning of the year. And those are all the reasons that came up. And some of them do relate to me and some of them do not. And I would also rank them differently for me, but I'm gonna save that ranking of my why for the next video. Let me know your why in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.